Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Man, and welcome to Thursday evening with me, Mick. Let's see how we get on. The more you comment, the more we strike up a chat, the longer I stay on. If you become boring and don't talk, then I'm going to fuck off and go down the pub. So let's see what happens. Welcome to the live chat. Thank you for my first like. I really appreciate it. Does Superman need Lois Lane? With Amy Adams clarifying that she hasn't been approached by DC Studios to reprise her role as Lois Lane, some fans on the internet, as usual, have decided that Lois Lane's not going to be in the next Superman film, because this is what the internet does, right? If this Superman movie continues from Man of Steel, if this is the same Superman from Man of Steel, then Amy will be involved. You expect her to say outside a premiere whether she's involved as Lois Lane? Of course not. To me, her body language looked very suspect, like she was a bit afraid that she was going to give the game away, and she's basically got an NDA and she's probably not allowed to talk. She looked a bit nervous, so I wouldn't listen to much of what she said. But we will see about Amy returning as Lois Lane. But does Superman need Lois Lane? Yes. Every actor who's played Lois Lane makes her even more fascinating. And she is a fascinating character to me. She's probably the first strong, independent woman in storytelling, as she was brought in to the comics when it launched in 1938. They weren't writing those strong, independent journalists back in 1938. So for Schuster and Siegel, two men, to introduce her, it's sensational. And she was a bit more of a damsel in distress back then, but she was still that reporter going for the story. The legend CJ, people don't understand how much Lois plays into Superman's life and morality. Right. Lois Lane is comparable to the companions in Doctor Who. When the Doctor travels alone, he goes dark, he crosses the line, as we saw in The Waters of Mars, starring David Tennant and written by Russell T Davies. This is the same as Superman. Superman needs Lois Lane, and we need her to be there. John, hey Mick, good evening, John. By the way, there is an HD version of the Superman post-credit scene from Black Adam now. I put it full screen on Twitter. It was amazing. Unfortunately, some donkey put the Idea of Hope music on, because that's what they're going to do, because they're so effing predictable. So Superman definitely needs Lois Lane. She matters, she's important, and they're not going to take her away from any movie, any television show. As I say, every actress who's played her has been fantastic and given a kind of new take to her, from, you know, the early days to Margot Kidder, to Terry Hatcher, to Erica Durance, the one on Superman and Lois, you know, Bitsy Tulloch. I love Bitsy, by the way. But yeah, so every actress has given her a new take and always made her really, really interesting. And she is an interesting character because she chooses to share her life with an alien. That can't be easy. With everything that comes along with Superman, that can't be an easy thing to do. I think as we've gone along, Lois has had more and more depth into her character. I think the Smallville version is a very interesting kind of characterization of Lois Lane, that she meets Clark when he's still a teenager in Smallville, and she kind of, I believe she falls in love with him from the beginning, but it takes her a long time to start to appreciate him, because to her, he's in love with Lana. And she kind of dismisses him as a suitor because she thinks he's unavailable. So the way they did her story in Smallville was brilliant. So, of course, you're going to have Lois Lane in the next Superman movie. It doesn't matter who plays Lois. You know, the actress who plays her understands her iconography, that she is an icon in storytelling, in fiction. And she's so important to Superman. She's, you know, she's so important to the Daily Planet. John really enjoyed this the live this morning discussing the DC movies cinema scores. Yes, thank you, John, for posting those cinema scores. I appreciate it. And it was a very interesting conversation to look at how people receive these DC movies in cinemas. And nothing lower than a B plus. That's interesting. So audiences kind of like these movies, but they haven't made the kind of money that the studio wanted. So old Jezebel from Twitter saying that the Superman post-credit scene doesn't matter because the film didn't make big box office. These propaganda merchants are everywhere, and I'm here, I was born, and I exist to put the propaganda merchants straight. And I will continue to correct them on their bullshit. That post-credit scene does matter. And if you say it doesn't matter, you ain't a fucking Superman fan. Why is everything about box office? We're fans, right? We're consumers. Why do we care so much about Rotten Tomatoes scores and shit like that? Doesn't make sense. But yeah, Lois is very, very, very important. And she, of course, will be involved, especially in the progressive world we live in today. It would be absolutely ridiculous to subtract Lois from Superman's story. It's amazing what people say, isn't it? It's amazing how people look at these things. And always amazes me the takes on the internet. The bullshit, the hot takers are everywhere. And I don't know if they just say things for attention or if they actually believe the actual shit they talk about. And DC fandom has a lot of propaganda merchants, a lot of shit being said. It's like they don't actually understand the shit that they stand. You know, no understanding at all. Black Adam doesn't have to make a lot of money because ultimately it ain't the new Vision. They want Black Adam to make money. They wanted it to make money, of course. They're a business. But this is why we're doing something new with James and Peter, because that's not working. But Black Adam could be part of the new beginning, by the way. We will see. Superman's not in that film for nothing, right? John, in case you wanted to know, Superman Returns got a B+. Cinema Score. Thank you. I did want to know that. And that's interesting because it's not a bad film. There's many great moments in that film. One of the most beautiful moments in any Superman film, when he's hovering over the Earth with Lois, and he says, "You wrote the world doesn't need a savior, but I still hear people crying out for one." That is probably what Superman is all about. So brilliant. The aeroplane save, everything. There's lots of them. The scene they took out, which killed the movie, by the way, and they should never have done it, was the return to Krypton sequence. That is a great sequence, and I always watch it. John, and Superman 4 got a C. So what's the lowest grading then? That's interesting, isn't it? I think what you'll find is, and the experience I had of Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, was I was still a teenager at school, and I went with my brother and my friends, and when we came out, we were hyped. We didn't really notice the poor VFX and things like that. So it's interesting. It's only when we started going on the internet and people started tearing it to pieces, and I watched it again as an adult, I realized there was an issue with the film. But I still got a lot out of that film. And Masters of the Universe, which isn't a great movie, but there's something entertaining about it. And this is the fun we've lost. Ronnie Dodge, hey Mick, someone I wish we can get. Ronnie Dodge, hey Mick, someone I wish we can get Amy back, but if not, recast character and use the Flash. Well, basically, Amy Adams standing outside a premiere isn't going to tell you if she's in the new Superman movie or not. She's sworn to secrecy. So she could be lying, right? Now, Amy's very honest. So I'm going to take her word that she hasn't been contacted. But, you know, for all we know, she just said that. She did look very, very nervous. But I can't delve into the mind of the wonderful Amy Adams. She's a great actress. She really is. And she did some good stuff as Lois. No question about that. Best performance in Man of Steel. Best writing for her in Man of Steel, because that is Lois Lane. She's brave. She gets involved in the action. She's brilliant in that film. I think when Goya and Nolan left the whole franchise, that's when Lois started getting dumbed down and certainly not being involved in the action like she was in the first movie. She was doing some great journalistic stuff, like in the desert at the beginning of the film. But yeah, it would be sad. Look, here's the thing. Here's the thing. if this Superman is the same Superman from MOS, BVS, and the Snyder Cut, right? If it's that Superman, then Amy will be back. If it's a new timeline, it's another actress. And I've got another pick for you. I've got Karen Gillan, but I've also got I had her name and I lost it. That's it. Deborah Ann Woll from Daredevil. I saw her being interviewed by Michael Rosenbaum on Inside of You. She has got the hair. She has got the look. She's a great actress. If I couldn't have Amy, I'd have her. She's so good. John, the lowest cinema score I saw was Batman and Robin C+. Ronnie Dodge, I just read that the director of the first block of Doctor Who Series 14 is known for horror, so that's very exciting, interesting. And Shooty era starting scary. Isn't that the lady who did a lot of Stephen Moffat episodes, who did Freddy's Dead? Is that who you're talking about? Because she's directed a lot. I think she directed the 60th anniversary that they've been doing. So it might be her, Ronnie. So yeah, Doctor Who's always been famous. Look, Doctor Who is iconic, whether it's an era you like or a Doctor you don't like. It's all iconic. Doctor Who is so special and wonderful, and the revival's been great. And I'm looking forward to the future and to see what they're planning. And I think lots of shocking things will be revealed in the anniversary, because I do think they may be going multiverse Doctor. We may have quite a few Doctors in the future of Doctor Who, and we don't know what happened with that regeneration and the clothes regenerating with the Doctor. Something is going on, because that was no bog standard regeneration. Why did the Doctor regenerate that way? Answers are coming in 2023, and I can't wait to find out what those answers are. Very exciting. Excited for Shooty. Excited for David's return. I'm sure Peter Capaldi claims he's not coming back, that he's done his bit. I think you're lying, Peter. So I think we're going to get lots of previous Doctors. Ray Dodge, the director is Dylan Holmes Williams for the first block. Right, never heard of him, but exciting. Yeah, be interesting what they're doing there. So where are we? So let me read what you said again. First block of Doctor Who Series 14 is known for horror. Very exciting. I'm excited because we're actually getting down to Series 14. Bring it on. I wonder how many episodes we're going to get. Russell used to do 13. We went down to 10. So it'll be interesting how many episodes we get. Very excited for the future. John, what are your thoughts on Lois finding out Clark's secret so quickly in Man of Steel? Right. So as a younger man, I didn't like Lois knowing. And when I found out what they did with what they were doing in the comics, when they did get her to find out, I was a little bit disappointed. I actually liked the way they did it in Man of Steel. It was all very natural. So the reason she knows who he is, because he saves her when they first meet. So she knows he's got powers, right? So he's got no glasses on. So then she sees him again at the gravestone. And then he suits up as Superman, and she has that kind of interview with him when she's being held by the army. So she already knows, but it's done in a very natural way. It's not like she's found out who he is. He's the person he's always been to her. So he wasn't hiding. He's not pretending to be the guy with the glasses in Man of Steel until the end. And she already knows who he is. So I actually like the way Goya did it, and I think it's pretty cool. But I don't like it, like in Smallville, how everyone knew who he was in the end. That was ridiculous. Yes, he does have to lie to some people, yeah? Superman is meant not to lie. It's not exactly lying. It's just not telling them the truth. There's a difference. Ronnie George Russell did say the other day he's writing episode 7. Very exciting. So he's up to episode 7. Brilliant. Wow, he's getting far, isn't he? The future of Doctor Who, my friends, is secure. Bring it on. As David Tennant says, the Doctor Who should go on forever. It's a great show. And tonight I was re-watching The Timeless Children. I actually liked the episode. I'm not a hater. I wanted Chris to, expand on it because it's interesting. Because pre the Timeless Children, we didn't know the Doctor's origins totally, but now we don't know their origins, and they don't know their origins either. So that's interesting, isn't it? But I thought it was interesting. I thought it was a very interesting thing to do. To pull the rug from underneath the fans, is interesting. And I know a lot of people are angry because it takes away what he was or what she was, whatever, right? But I think if you're doing something interesting, it's okay. But unfortunately, look, I was surprised how people reacted to us getting a female Doctor. I was surprised because the Doctor, literally can regenerate into anyone or anything. And I was surprised. I thought Doctor Who fans were a little bit better than that. And again, the fuss made from the Timeless Children was interesting to me because people took it like they got offended politically about it. I think it's interesting. I think it was an interesting story, and I wanted to see where he was taking it. Ultimately, just like the Fugitive Doctor, he didn't take it anywhere, and that's disappointing. Ronnie Dodge, I'm rewatching the Series 13. Ah, right, yeah. Series 13, which is basically Flux, isn't it? Ronnie Dodge, I feel we're going to know Shooty Companion soon. I still think it's the transgender actress. They did say, people have been saying that's not the case, but it will be interesting who the companion will be. Very interesting. Think about this. What if David Tennant is Shooty's companion? Think about that for a minute. Think about that for a minute and process that. David Tennant as the companion. He's now, don't forget, as of now, David Tennant is the Doctor again. It's not in Shooty. Shooty hasn't regenerated. We haven't seen him yet, officially. So at the moment, David Tennant, and introducing David Tennant as the Doctor. Brilliant. John, what about the actress from Jurassic World cast as Lois Lane? No. You talking about Ron Howard? No. If you want that, you're entitled to your opinion. But for me, no. You're talking about Ron Howard's daughter, aren't you? No. 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 Oh, my God. No way. But Deborah Ann Wall or Karen Gillan would be awesome. Oh, no. Oh, no, mister. Oh, I couldn't be doing that. Let us stay in the Jurassic World. Yes, there's a lot of exciting announcements coming very soon about Superman, and I'm excited for the whole world to hear it. John, only joking, sorry. Well, sometimes people tell jokes that not everyone finds funny, John. That's okay. But, of course, Amy could still be Lois. Everyone's jumping the gun. The internet always jumps the gun. The woman literally had a microphone in her face. Did you really think she was going to turn around and give you all the fucking answers, when she's at a premiere? Things aren't done like that in the industry. In the industry, things are done through official channels via the studio's publicity team or James Gunn or whatever, right? So you ain't going to find out via putting a microphone in her fucking face at a premiere. People are so dumb. Patience, patience, patience. As I keep on advising you all, stop making assumptions. It's a dangerous thing to do. Until you're told she's not Lois anymore, until you're told Lois isn't in the movie, calm it down. Everything's all right. We don't know what's going on, as I keep on saying. You don't, I don't. We're entitled to our opinions, of course, but we simply don't know what's going on. That's the fun thing about it. We don't need to know everything. Let's have a few surprises. But I do believe in a few weeks we will be hearing some very huge, exciting Superman news. Oh, the internet's going to break. The internet's going to break. People are going to be angry. I love it, especially when it's the right type of people being angry. Ronnie Dodger, I hope we get a statement from a certain club in the morning saying a contract has been terminated. Do you know what, Ronnie? He wants that. Do you know what would hurt him more if the club kept him and chucked him in the reserves or even made him play? Imagine him having to face the team and the manager after he said what he said. That's a bigger punishment. Don't sack him. Legally, I don't think they have the grounds to sack him anyway. He hasn't broken any non-disclosure agreement, any NDAs. I think it would be very difficult to break the contract, but what do I know anyway? We will see what happens tomorrow. When everything's big, tonight is the night where he talks about Eric. This is why Morgan has saved it till last. So yeah, I'm not interested in it. I don't care what he's got to say. I love him as a player. He was a great player for us in his initial era at the club. So that doesn't change for me. And, you know, as Ian Wright said, he probably needs to talk to someone about accepting that his career is over. And I mean, he hasn't embarrassed Manchester United. He's embarrassed himself. He's pretty much said everything, but my plonker is bigger than everybody else's. He's proud that he's got the most Instagram followers in the world. Why are you proud about that? Why are you gloating about that? He's actually a younger version than Piers Morgan. They just sit there bragging about their views and shit. It's pathetic. Ronnie Dodge, make him stay at the club and make him watch from the bench. Make him watch from the bench. Basically, let him stay there. He's out at the end of the season anyway. John, have you heard that Shazam 2 has got a PG age rating? Yes, I have. Yeah. A PG, not surprised, is it? Its target audience is PG, parental guidance. That's great. I don't want Shazam being a 15 or R-rated, and nobody should want that. Ronnie Judge, he's in denial. That's his form is falling off a cliff and blaming others. Yes, it's everybody else's fault. But what sums him up is pretty much bigging up, complimenting the worst manager in our history and putting down the manager trying to correct the mistakes of the worst manager in our club's history. That says everything about him. Who's seen the new studio at the United Stand? Looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Mark's really funny. He's always trying to tease people that he's going to quit. Yeah, that HD video of Superman's post-credit scene in Black Adam, shame people are putting the idea of hope over it. It's just toxic. It doesn't make it better. It doesn't. Kal-El, yes, and we need Amy Adams back. If this is the Superman from Man of Steel and BVS and the Snyder Cut, then yes. If it's a new Superman, then she won't be back. We simply don't know, Kal-El, what's going on. Ronnie George, I like Mark's new studio. Did you see the World Cup advert he made? So funny. I think I kind of saw it. It was on mute and I just kept on scrolling. The thing is, you could put Idea of Hope on it, but that's not the music that was on it. So it's just deluded people. I saw something really deluded. People trying to justify Man of Steel's box office opposed to the Batman's box office. Why are Snyder fans so toxic towards the Batman? It's so pathetic. It really is. John, it will be interesting to see Helen Mirren as the villain in Shazam 2. Yes. And yeah, I pretty much know that whole story. So I can say that one of the villains crosses the line more than the other. Guess which one it is? Kal-El, it's not a new Superman. It's the same actor from the Snyderverse. Kal-El, you can't possibly know that because I don't know that. The only people who know that is Henry and the people at the studio. So we don't know that for sure. Maybe it is. Maybe you're right. But we don't know that for sure. We will see. What you mean is, Kal-El, you don't want it to be a new Superman. Kal-El, Henry's from the Snyderverse. This will confuse people. No, it won't. But we don't know. It could be from the Snyderverse. It may not be from the Snyderverse. It won't confuse people at all. But whatever it is, it is. We shall see. I'm comfortable with either scenario. If I was in charge of DC, I would be burning the entirety of the DCEU to the ground and starting again. And I wouldn't have any guilt about it. That's how you rebuild. You free yourself up. Cavill wouldn't even be coming back if it was me. If it was a new universe. I'd be starting again. I love Henry. But I'd be starting from scratch. I'd be done with the hobbling, struggling DCEU that pretty much people outside of the DC fandom couldn't give a shit about. Ronnie Dodge, I'm going to say Lucy Liu character. She seems to be the one who goes crazy. Ronnie Dodge, it won't because it's after the Flash. If it were me, I'd be burning the whole thing to the ground. I would never use the DCEU actors or anything again. I would be starting again. I wouldn't even be touching the DCEU. When was the last time they had a successful movie in the DC Extended Universe? Well, I'll tell you. Aquaman and Shazam was a little success. That's it. Shazam was the last DCEU movie to make a profit. So, Birds of Prey didn't make a profit. Wonder Woman 84 didn't make a profit because of the pandemic. James Gunn's The Suicide Squad didn't make a profit. And obviously Black Adam's profit, if there is any, is very small. Kal-El, the Snyder Cut was a huge success. Check the numbers. I know the numbers. I saw the numbers. When they were, my sources showed me what it did. It did okay on HBO Max. It sold very well on physical media. That's right. But it wasn't released in cinemas and it didn't make $1 billion. So it doesn't matter anymore, Kal-El. It doesn't matter. None of this matters anymore. What matters is the future and that we can have a DC universe we can all be proud of. Not just Snyderverse fans, but all fans. Basically, DC should be for everyone, not just one fan base. Ray Dodge, maybe it was a huge success, but not for the general audiences. That's what James and Peter is here for. Yeah, they're not a charity. They're not a charity to prop up one director. Of course they're not. The Snyder Cut was a great movie. I enjoyed it, but it's done. It's done. It's over. Well, don't forget, on the films, on the Justice League reshoots and on the original Justice League, they must have spent well over 300 million. Then they gave Snyder 70 million to actually put together the Snyder Cut because it wasn't a finished movie. It never was. Kal-El, you underestimate the size of the Snyderverse audience. No, you're overestimating the size of the Snyderverse audience. They can't bring $1 billion for a movie, my friend. They won't. Where were they? Where were they during Man of Steel? Where were they during BVS? Why didn't the film reach $2 billion? It's such a huge fan base. Spider-Man No Way Home, over $2 billion. People loved it. Great comic book movie. Everyone celebrated it. Ronnie Dodge. David Ayer liked the tweet saying people need to stop hassling James Gunn. Yeah, I mean, listen. At the end of the day, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying release the Ayer cut. I mean, you're wasting your time, but there's nothing wrong with it. But if you start swearing at the man and you're disrespectful, there is something wrong with it. Yeah, listen, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. But yeah, they're focusing on tomorrow, not yesterday. Kal-El, 850 mil BVS box office. Then physical sales took it over $1 billion. Yeah, the studio doesn't add it like that's not how it's done, my friend. The actual studio wanted $2 billion from its box office in the movie theaters globally. It wanted a box office of over $2 billion in the global cinematic system because you put Superman and Batman together. But BVS doesn't celebrate Superman and Batman. It puts them in the real world and makes Batman a murderer and a torturer And people didn't like that. Just like people didn't like Superman breaking somebody's neck. Go figure. Calla, can you provide a source where WB wanted 2 billion or an article, perhaps? No, I don't have to. I don't have to. I'm that important that I don't need to provide any evidence. I know. As long as I know what I'm saying is true. They put Superman and Batman together. They wanted 2 billion. They wanted No Way Home money and Force Awakens money. That's why they put the two characters together. But the film didn't relate to the general audience. And if you think 850 million is enough for a film with Batman and Superman in it, and explain to me, if it's such a successful movie, Aquaman made more money than a film with Batman and Superman in it. It's dead, Kal-El. The Snyderverse is dead. Enjoy the trilogy, nerd out to it. That's a beautiful thing. That's okay. But deluding yourself, what you're saying is just embarrassing, and you all do it all the time. Just like how Superman killed Zod, Non, and Ursa, right? That embarrassing take. Or that the Batman's a bad movie, or that the Batman's a flop, or that Shazam's a flop. This is what you people do all the time. You embarrass yourselves, nobody else. Ronnie George, Joker made more than BVS, says a lot. Yep. Kal-El, will you eat crow when Snyder comes back in 2023? I will be very happy to see Zack make more DC movies. Let's see what happens. Doesn't change the facts from the past, though. I don't think he's coming back, but let's see. Kal-El, Joker wasn't a WB-funded film. What are you talking about? It was partially funded by another production company, but it was also funded by WB. No, they outsourced it partially, not totally. Ronnie Dodge, if we are going to have a Justice League universe from James and Peter, need solo Batman and Superman movies, not another BVS. No thanks, no more BVS. I'll take a World's Finest, though. World's Finest rates those characters. Yes, that's another Snyderverse. That's another piece of Snyderverse propaganda that basically WB didn't make much money on Joker because they outsourced the whole movie. They didn't outsource the whole movie. They partially outsourced it, which means they made half of the profits. Ronnie Judge, if we are going... No, sorry, John. I did not know that Superman the movie made 300.5 million. Right. Now, go on your little calculator and change it for modern day money. It's around over $1 billion if you 300.5 million, right, in 1978 is quadruple that, more than that in modern day. So, 300.5 million then isn't 300.5 million today. It made a huge profit on today's terms, and it's still making money today. Ronnie George, I want to see Bruce and Clark's friendship develop over the DCU. I'm sure it will. That's what normal people would do. Celebrate those characters, not make them mournful. Nobody wants to see that. Well, only one fandom, by the way. As I say, when they say they didn't like Superman until they saw Man of Steel, kind of explains a lot. Kal-El, Bruce bought the farm for Clark. Yeah, he did eventually, but he also tried to kill him. I'm just going to be happy when it's all clarified what's going on with the future, so people can just, stop the propaganda. And the Batman was not a flop. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. We move on. We look forward, not back. Ronnie Dodge, the Snyderverse fans will never be happy. In the end, they will get left behind. JL2 and JL3 isn't happening with Snyder. Well, they'll always be there to throw propaganda. What's the latest one? Why didn't real DC fans go and support Black Adam? Yeah, maybe if your director didn't ruin BVS and didn't ruin the DCEU, maybe more people will be coming in to see that movie. Kal-El, if Gunn takes the Snyderverse cast and totally reworks them away from the previous films, it will flop hard. No, you want it to flop hard. It doesn't mean just because you want something to happen, Kal-El, doesn't mean it is going to happen, unfortunately. They're not his actors. They're not his actors. They belong to the studio. We don't know. We don't know who they're going to use and who they're not going to use. Kal-El, we'll have to see. Yes, we will have to see because no one's Nostradamus here. Ronnie Dodge, I've seen Black Adam 5 times, so I know I'm a real DC fan, Lo. Yeah, exactly. Well, these days, if something makes under $1 billion, then fans start saying it's a flop. Look what they were saying about the Batman, which made a healthy profit. And they try and compare the BVS box office with the Batman box office, even though basically BVS is a crossover and the Batman is literally the first in a trilogy. Kal-El, Black Adam was a hodgepodge, don't you think? Well, some people say the same about some Snyderverse films. I don't know. Yes, it was. I think it was a very entertaining movie, but it was kind of squeezed together and condensed down a bit, but it was still a good time at the cinema. But ultimately, it doesn't really matter. We know there's a future. We know there's a new direction. So whatever that film did or was or didn't make or did make, it doesn't really matter. John, there's a new DC animated movie coming out. Oh, yeah, since when? Kal-El, do you think Sandberg would have handled Black Adam better? Absolutely, yes. Basically, The Rock should never have been allowed to decide who made the film, who wrote the film, and who directed the film. And yes, I think the people who wrote Shazam and David, who directed Shazam, would have done a much better job. And yes, Shazam Fury of the Gods will be a much better film structurally. Ronnie Dodge, no, Black Adam was good, and also with the teasing with James, we're getting more JSA characters, especially Mr. Terrific. Ronnie Dodge, Sandberg didn't even direct Black. No, we know he didn't, Ronnie. We're saying he should have done. Ronnie Dodge, sorry, read that wrong, Lol. Hallelujah. We all make mistakes. Even a great God like me, a Greek God like me, makes mistakes. Kal-El, why are people against wonderful Amy Adams? I didn't realise anyone was against the wonderful Amy Adams. I've never heard anything bad about Amy. I've been on Twitter since 2013, or this Twitter account since 2013, and I've never heard one person shit on Amy. She's a well-renowned and respected actress. Kal-El, are you Greek? I was going to ask. I'm an Anglo-Greek Cypriot, which basically means my parents were Greek Cypriot. They were born in Cyprus, and I was born and bred and raised in the UK. Obviously, my DNA is Greek Cypriot. Ronnie Dodge, I like Amy Adams. Just want to see her Lois with a different director. Kal-El, I had a hunch. Did you live in London? I lived in Southeast London, yes. Bromley, Kent. I even worked a month for George Michael's uncle in a hairdresser's called Cutting Rooms, because my dad was personal friends with George Michael's uncle. And basically, because I was a useless loser when I left school, he got me a job with him. But I lasted 1 month. I couldn't wash or cut hair to save my life. So they gave me a bottle of champagne, which I shared with his wife in the bath that evening. John, DC Legion of Superheroes animated movie coming out early next year. DC Legion of Superheroes. That must be something before James Gunn and Peter got there, I think. Ronnie George, I was born in Bromley. Oh, wow. Yeah, Bromley boy, mate. Adrian Paul, who was Duncan MacLeod in the Highlander series, is also from Bromley as well. This is what happens when you fire me. Keller, what do you think of the Suicide Squad game? It looks good. Never played it. Don't know. Do you mean Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? That one? Callow, it's not out officially. I think next year. Oh, well, I have no thoughts on a game that's not out yet. DC are going to have some great games now under this new DC Studios. It's going to be very, very... If you're a gamer, you're going to have some awesome DC games to be playing in the next 2 or 3, 5 years. It's going to be awesome. Probably every movie will have a game attached. Kello, do you think Black Adam got the anti-hero right? I'm not sure. Well, when you give him his own movie, he can't be a black-hearted villain. He has to be an anti-hero. So, in those terms, once you decide to put him on that stage, and I mean, look, it's all about opinions, isn't it? Did Black Adam actually need his own movie? I don't think that he did, but that's what The Rock wanted. That's what The Rock got. This is what the Hamadaverse did. Just let actors and people do whatever they wanted, and it doesn't work. This is what happened with the series finale of Smallville. It allowed certain actors to dictate what happened with their endings, and that's why the series finale is problematic of Smallville, in my opinion. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Movies TV Mad. I am Mick, your host with the most. I hope you're okay. Kalao, how would you create a beef between Black Adam and Shazam going forward? Because Black Adam is not clear. Right. It's easy, right? Originally, Black Adam or his son was the chosen one, right? And now Shazam, Billy Batson is the chosen one. So Black Adam naturally shouldn't really like that. But Black Adam maybe Shazam comes to where Black Adam's from, and maybe something kicks off, and Black Adam doesn't like him interfering, and they end up fighting. There's lots of things you can do. You could have a manipulation from Mr. Mind. There's lots of things you could do with it. Kal-El, third like. Thank you, my friend. John, am I right in saying that The Rock did not want Shazam in Black Adam movie? No. He wants to build the characters up first. But, there may not be any more building out, because we don't know what the future holds. And I mean, let's look at this cleverly, intelligently, right? So basically, characters from the Black Adam film are getting spin-offs, but Black Adam isn't getting a sequel, it doesn't look like. So basically, they're happy to rework the JSA, but they're not happy to use Black Adam again, maybe. I believe that people received the supporting characters more positively than they did The Rock's Black Adam. I think if they revealed their research, I think this would be a thing. So I think from the box office, we can say a Black Adam movie should never have happened. It's enjoyable, it's okay, but it wasn't worth the investment. It wasn't worth the hassle at the end of the day. From a business standpoint, from a business point of view, that film was a total waste of time. And it would have made Shazam more money if he was just the villain in the first Shazam. And I mean, we could argue that The Rock should never be playing Black Adam in the first place. Could argue that. I know people won't like that, but because are you seeing Black Adam or are you just seeing The Rock? Callow, I think Black Adam tried to do too much. I think it could have been tighter if scenes were cut. Callow, the film's 2 hours as it is. If you cut it, there's not going to be anything less. So I don't think cutting it or asking it to do less is a thing that would have improved the box office or anything. It's like the people who believe Birds of Prey flopped because nobody knew Harley Quinn was in the movie when everybody fucking knew she was in the movie. Kello, I didn't like the Ray, Harry, Hassan skeleton fight in the end. Why not? It was cool. Callow, it looked cheap and unrealistic. Doesn't all CGI look cheap and unrealistic? Isn't that the problem with CGI? Isaac Cruz Potato, hey Mick, sorry I'm late. It's okay. How are you? Glad you're here. Isaac Cruz Pineda, any news today? Not really. Apart from Amy Adams saying she hasn't been approached to reprise her role as Lois Lane, which was yesterday. But there's no big updates to that today. Kellel, do you like Amber Heard? I do like Amber Heard, yes. But what do you mean? What do you mean, do I like Amber Heard? I think she's a good mirror. I think she's a really good mirror. If you're asking me about the Johnny Depp situation, I think her and Johnny are just as bad as each other. That's what I think. I don't think either of them come out of the situation, and they're embarrassing, fighting each other publicly still, not being able to be adult and mature enough to go their separate ways. There's no innocent party here. He takes drugs. He's a pisshead, right? He didn't know what day it was in that relationship from one day or the other. Then he's surprised that the girl cheated on him, right? She's not perfect. I mean, some of the things we heard she did aren't great, but I'm sure he was no angel either. Isaac Cruz Pineda, I saw that video of Amy. I think she may be hiding something. Yeah, she looked a bit, she looked nervous, didn't she? Like she didn't want to spill the beans. So, yeah. Kalal, I agree, Isaac. But we don't know until we know. Simple as that. So we can say that, it doesn't make it true. It doesn't. Anything we say as fans, just because we want something to happen and we say it, doesn't mean it's true. Callow, is Amy pregnant or is she just thicker? To be honest with you, Callow, I really don't want to comment about a woman's weight. I don't think that she looked lovely to me. She didn't look anything, and if she did, she did, Yeah, it's not really something. Especially, I mean, I don't know what you look like, but I'm no oil painting. What, you calling yourself a bot, Kal-El? That's just part of the internet, my friend. It doesn't faze me. Isaac Cruz Pineda, surfing through Twitter, there are so many people passionately oppose Battison in the DCU, which surprised me. I would assume someone as good as Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson would be a great. Well, let me explain to you, Isaac. It's not the reason they don't want them in the DCU because they want them to be separate because they're fans of Pattinson and Reeves. That's why. And obviously, the other people are the Snyderverse stands who are fantasizing and deluding themselves that Ben Affleck is still going to be Batman. Kal-El, leave Reeves to his own lane. I don't mind either way. If Matt Reeves and James Gunn have discussed it and Matt wants to be part of the DC universe, great. If he wants to be in his own bubble, great again. I'm fine with either scenario. Neither scenario ruins my enjoyment. The first movie was absolutely fantastic. One of the best third acts I've ever seen in a comic book film, by the way. It works in so many ways. But I don't mind if he stays to his own corner or he joins the DC universe. It won't make any difference to my enjoyment. Matt, David Zaslav has said that Matt can do whatever he wants at the studio. So the CEO of the studio is very happy with Matt. I'm very happy with Matt. He made a really great 3-hour Batman film, very enjoyable. I think he picked a brilliant actress to play Selena Kyle. I'm very excited about her future. Isaac Cruz Pineda, well, if not Pattinson, I still would want a younger Batman instead of Affleck and Keaton, maybe recast. I'm fine with Affleck because he's in his 50s and that's totally fine. He's there. If he stays, that's fine. Michael Keaton, I do not want, and I don't think Michael Keaton is the future of the new franchise anyway. That would be a mistake. I don't have a clue what they're doing with that. It seems like they're focused in building out the franchise, first of all, with characters we haven't seen in live action yet, which is very interesting. It'll be very interesting what the first movie in the new DC universe will be. Considering he teased Mr. Terrific, a JSA movie may be coming first of all. Isaac Cruz Pineda, wouldn't it be Blue Beetle or would it still be in the DCEU? Well, that's something, my friend, we need clarifying. Nobody knows, do they? That's something that needs clarifying. Underwater Hamada, basically Blue Beetle would have been the first film in the new timeline. Well, in fact, Batgirl would have been because Walter wouldn't have ever shelved his own movie. But it has been shelved, then Blue Beetle under the Hamadaverse multiverse strategy would have been the first movie in the new timeline. But your question can't be answered because they haven't revealed the answer yet. So the Brazilian Fan Expo is coming in December. They're promoting the Flash movie, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, and of course Shazam, Fury of the Gods, but not Blue Beetle, I don't think. I think it may be too soon for Blue Beetle, although Blue Beetle is released before Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, so it's a bit confusing. Isaac Cruz Pineda, possible trailer. I believe at the Brazilian Fan Expo, you will see another trailer of Shazam, Fury of the Gods, a trailer for Flash, and a trailer for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom at long last. I don't think that, when you go to one of these expos, it's for trailers. Got to be. I very much doubt they're just going there to talk about these movies. It's too early for the Flash movie and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom to be discussed. So I think you'll see trailers. Khalil, do you think Zack will show his emerald cut of Zack Snyder's Justice League when he goes to Kevin Smith's cinema? I didn't know there was an emerald cut, whatever that is. Maybe, Khalil, you can tell us what the emerald cut is, because it's the first time I've heard of it. John, are you going to watch the Super Mario Bros. Movie when it comes out next year? I will at some point, John. I don't think I'm going to jump in a cab for 40 euros to watch a Mario movie, but I'll definitely be excited to watching it when it comes on home release. Kal-El, the Emerald Cut is the ending with the Green Lantern. Oh, right. I've no idea. I would doubt it, my friend. I think he would need studio permission to do that. He doesn't own those characters. I know Snyderverse fans act like he does own DC. He doesn't. Isaac Cruz Pineda, yeah, I doubt it. Yeah, me too. Kal-El, I would like to see Tom Cruise as Green Lantern. He just doesn't fit the bill for me. I mean, if you're talking about an older Hal Jordan, Robert Downey Jr., or the man himself, Ryan Reynolds, would be a good older kind of mentor for Jon Stewart. I just don't see Tom Cruise. I don't know why everyone's obsessed with Tom Cruise. Isaac Cruz Pineda, we need Jon Stewart. We do. Kal-El as an older Lantern, especially with his Top Gun arc. I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but my imagination doesn't think of Tom Cruise as Hal Jordan and get excited. I love Tom. I'm a big Tom Cruise fan. But yeah, I just don't see it, personally, for me. But who knows? I can't even see Tom Cruise wanting to be in a comic book movie. People were saying he was going to cameo as Iron Man in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and that scene was cut. Bullshit. Never was going to happen. So thankfully tonight's live was a bit more chatty than last night's live. It was so fucking boring I was falling asleep. Reno Jack, salutations, sir. Hope your day is well. Yes, having a great day, thank you. Hope you're having a good day yourself, my friend. Salutations yourself. Welcome to Movies TV Man. I'm Mick, your host with the most, and welcome to the live chat. We've been asking, does Superman need a Lois Lane? I believe he does. And we discussed that, and we've been discussing a whole catalogue of DC subjects. Isaac Cruz Pineda, I personally didn't like Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern. Reno Jack, I do believe Lois Lane is necessary. I agree. And she's one of the many aspects that brings a humanizing aspect to his character. Isaac Cruz Pineda, but I like the actor who played the Yellow Lantern. Do you mean, what's his name? Sinestro. He played the villain in Shazam, didn't he? Mark Strong, that's it. British actor. The British actors always nail it. The British actors always show up the American actors every time. It happened with Morbius. Matt Smith was so much better than Jared Leto in Morbius, yeah. Probably Matt Smith should have been Morbius. Probably Jared Leto should have played the villain. I mean, I didn't mind Morbius. I didn't think Morbius was the terrible film some people were making it out to be. But is there some kind of agenda from MCU fans to try and, descale, to try and make, the Sony Marvel films fail? I think they hate the idea of a separate franchise. They're toxic. You're toxic, gotta put it under. Maybe we should call it a day. Maybe. I said maybe. Isaac Cruz Pineda, the new DCU will most likely start with Superman. Maybe. Certainly be interesting to see what the first movie is. It could be Superman. It would make sense, but then who knows? You could have a Dead Man, a Lobo, Mr. Terrific first. Who knows? Maybe, considering the MCU started off with Iron Man, maybe we'll get a lesser character that people don't know about to launch it and could surprise people. I'm sure everyone on the internet will be all angry because it's not a famous character, but I think David Zaslav would want Superman to come first. I think James Gunn's preference wouldn't be Superman. I don't think he's a Superman fan, but I think Zaslav wants something big to launch this universe for sure. Of course, James Gunn and Peter Safran have to report directly to David Zaslav. He's a hands-on CEO. Right, guys, we're going to wrap things up very shortly. Get your comments in so we don't miss anything. If you've got something else to say before I wrap it up. Reno Juck found a copy of Iron Man in the bin taking out the trash the other day. Had to take it in case it's worth something someday. One of the only MCU films I enjoyed. Wow, what a find that is. I like Iron Man. I like The Incredible Hulk. I love Thor. I love Captain America, the First Avenger. I love The Incredible Hulk. I love Avengers Assemble, the first Avengers. Iron Man 3, I shouldn't really like Iron Man 3, but I find it hugely entertaining. There are some good moments there. For Dark World, I know everyone hates it. I think it's all right. It's not brilliant, but it's all right. It's funny, actually, some of the films after Avengers Assemble, which is the film that made, the MCU what it is today, some of the films that came after that weren't great, which is really interesting. I like Captain America Civil War. I like Captain America the Winter Soldier. It's a great movie. It's probably the Dark Knight of the MCU. Lots of good films. Lots of good films in the MCU, especially in the early days. There are good films there. I mean, I think Phase 4 is not as bad as people think. I don't think Black Widow's that great, but I think Shang-Chi's okay. I think Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is okay. WandaVision is amazing. Falcon and the Winter Soldier has got some really good elements to it. Loki's okay. So there are some good things in there. And obviously Spider-Man No Way Home, for me, is one of the great comic book movies, as far as I'm concerned. I think it's a lot better than the people that hate the DCEU who hate the MCU will admit. Now, I'm not the biggest MCU stan, but I don't think you can say that Spider-Man No Way Home is a bad movie. In fact, it's a very, very good movie. It's not just about crossing over the other Spider-Men. Tom Holland's Spidey, Peter Parker, is the central figure. He has an amazing arc going through that movie. I do really like Spider-Man No Way Home. I think, obviously it's better than the first two, but the first two are just part of a little arc. And basically, you need those first two movies to get to Spider-Man No Way Home. Amazing. So Phase 4 isn't terrible. It's not the best phase by any means. And there are some duds in there. But I do see it as a filler phase rather than a sign of things to come. And at the end of the day, the MCU is still making bank. Reno Jack, it was quite crazy to find the first 4 Harry Potters were in there also. Wow, that is insane. That should be a sin. That should actually be a sin. You should be dragged through the streets for binning films like that. Right, everyone, we're going to wrap up now. I hope you've enjoyed the live video. It's been absolutely fantastic to be live here this morning with the DC Universe Daily Live and tonight with you guys. Thank you for the likes and everything. This has been Movies TV Mad. I am Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wife. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. And I will see you tomorrow morning again for the DC Universe Daily Live. Hopefully some big news to feed off of. If not, we will be here and we will discuss other stuff, of course, and I will be here throughout the day as I am every day. Until I see you again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. Reno Jack, my thoughts exactly. I do recall VHS having a high resale fault. I do recall VHS having a high resale value at time due to the collectability. Maybe DVDs will one day be the same. Reno Jack, have a great one, sir. Thank you very much, Reno. Thank you, everyone who's commented and liked, and I will see you again tomorrow. Peace.